like they say, here we go again. But every time we go again, we seem to hit on something positive, and that's what's important.
Hey everybody, Ulysses Butch Slaughter here with Executive Director Steve Fisher, and we are 3 years into building community. I know you can't believe it, but it's been 3 years since we started building community.
Have we known each other 3 years?
We've known each other at least 3 years.
I guess we would have had to, right?
We can go back and look at some pictures. I know people use Photoshop to make themselves look different, but I'm thinking that we can go back at least 3 years and show that we've been familiar with one another. So what we're looking at today is the very beginning of this thing that we call building community. And you know, this is the first time we've done a building community actually sitting next to one another.
That's right.
Usually we're on Zoom, so I know that this is probably throwing some of you all off, but this isn't a camera trick. We're actually sitting at the Chester Housing Authority main office and going through from the very beginning building community. So let me ask you, maybe before we get into this.
Here we go.
Like, of course you remember when we first started this. Did you think we'd go this long with this?
Definitely not, because I think it was first seen as a COVID thing.
Right.
So this was going to fill the communication gap with our residents when we weren't able to see them in person so much. And of course, we all hoped COVID would be a short-lived thing.
Right.
It didn't turn out to be that way. But then, as the years progressed, we started delving into other topics other than health related.
Right.
And I don't know, we were enjoying it. People seemed to be enjoying it, the guests. So we kept it going, and here we still are. So 3 years passed, and we never really stopped and paused to go back and look at some of the highlights.
So we're going to pause today, and we're going to take a look at some of these highlights. The very first one we did back in April 2020. And again, this is when nobody had a clue what was going on in the world. All we knew was that we were being told to stay home. What was the line? Stay sheltered?
Stay at home is what I remember.
Stay at home, stay apart, don't go outside, all that kind of stuff. And our response was...
Oh yeah, it was, what was the big term? Social distance.
Look at that, man.
We don't remember anymore. It's a thing of the past, thankfully.
How quickly we forget. I forgot the term social distancing.
Yeah, right.
And we decided to use the Zoom platform to stay connected. And I remember when we got Q. We'll have to get some feedback from Q about this at some point. But I remember when we got Q to record the introduction. We don't even use the introduction anymore. Remember the one about building community was set up to help us during time of social isolation?
Building Community is a video series developed by the Chester Housing Authority at the outset of the COVID-19 outbreak. It is one of the numerous communication mechanisms initiated in order for the Chester Housing Authority to keep in contact with its residents, staff, and the general public during an extended time of isolation.
Oh, we're not using that anymore? It's just the music now?
It's just the music now, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and, no one's ever seen Q. She's the mystery force behind this.
That's right.
So maybe we should have worked her into this somehow.
Yeah, we'll have to get a testimonial from Q about what building community has meant, if anything, to her. So, I guess we're going to get started then. We're going to look through these episodes, and then we're going to talk about them. And you know what? If you have a favorite episode, what would be really cool, for those of you who see this, if you have a favorite episode or a favorite memory of building community, let us know. We're going to post this on Facebook like we always do. We're going to post it on YouTube like we always do. And things have greatly changed. I mean, we went from having 6 views in April 2020 to get to the point where we would have a couple of hundred views depending on what we were talking about. And as you said earlier, it really did go from being almost a novelty. It was a novelty. We were just kind of doing it to make up for a loss. And before you knew it, we were talking about voting, we were talking about violence, we were talking about education. We hosted superintendent. I can't remember her name.
Carol
Yeah, we
Brooks.
hosted a superintendent. We did a game show. I mean, we just we just kind of lost it.
Yeah, I remember after several segments that were very intense, on serious subjects,
Right.
and we really got analytical with our guests. We decided to lighten it up a little.
Right,
And then you came up with the idea of the game shows, and that definitely lightened it up. We had a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Hey Steve, in the last show, you threw a curveball at me by telling me that there actually was no prize. Can we get a prize this time, Steve?
I started to think about that a few days ago, and then I never got through the thought, and then I never went back to it, so there's still no prize.
Well, we're going to run some of those back as we do this review of Building Community, and we'll probably do this in a few segments as well, because there were some great nuggets that we remember. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this.
Oh, and we wrote our name. We wrote our name in Japan. Japanese. I just said Japan.
Japan is the country.
I know Japanese.
We've heard a few things about camp encouragement, but we're going to hear some. I know we're going to hear some more from you today, but we heard about the most interesting activity that we've ever heard about. Did you paint a horse?
Yes.
Yes.
We put little dots on it and we got to wash it.
I got to wash the
We
horse.
all did.
I know.
How does the horse react when you paint it and wash
The,
it?
The horse was
wait,
fine.
hold on. The horse was eating grass, so the horse didn't really care.
Oh, there was one horse in the barn that looked cross-eyed.
Ooh, Isaiah, that's nothing. That's just
No, it did look cross-eyed at me.
But the horse reacted fine.
Cause the horse was eating grass.
Okay.
I see you laughing.
That's funny. Isaiah, you said the horse was cross-eyed?
It looked at me
Yo.
cross-eyed.
That's hilarious.
Let's come up with something. All expense paid trip to Overtown?
I've met with Steve probably a dozen times over the years, and the most Steve has offered me is a bottle of water, man. So I know I ain't getting no prize out of Steve.